Welcome. This is the Academic Test 3-1 review to prepare you for the upcoming test. So, for problems 1 and 2, shade the following models to show the indicated percent, 75%. So, why did I shade in 6 of the 8? Let's think about it. Let me get my pen ready. The reason why I shaded 6 out of 8 because you can divide it by 2, divide it by 2, and get 3/4. And to build it to a percent of 100%, you multiply by 25, multiply by 25, and you get 7,500 or 75%. That's why I shaded 6 out of 8. Another way to see it is if you know 75% is 7,500 and you simplify it down to 3/4, so you shade in 3 of the 4 rows, 3 of the tiles on the first row, 3 tiles of the 4. Next one, 30%. Why did I shade in 3 out of 10? Well, let's think about it. 3/10. A percent again means out of 100. How do you build this to 100? Times 10 times 10, 30 hundredth or 30%. So 3/10 means 30 hundred or 30%. Again, if you know 30 hundred, you can divide both numbers by 10 and it breaks down to 3/10. Represent the benchmark rational numbers on this number line. So 0 is a starting, 1 thing. So if numbers are to the right of 0, they are positive. So this is 25%. So this is 50. So I like working with percent. So I'm going to rename this as 25%, 0%, 50%, 100%. What about 3/4? In the previous one, we already found out what 3/4 was. How do you build a 4 to 100 times 25 times 25, 7,500 or 75%? About 1/3. Think about it. We used fraction bars this year. So this is 1/3, this is 1/3, this is 1/3. This represents 1 whole. So if you break 1 into 3 equal parts, what percent would it be? So 1/3, how do you build it to 100%? You times it by 33, times it by 33, but it's only 99. So do you remember we saw it so on the board bar 33.3 repeating, 33.3 repeating. So it's 33.3 with a bar, repeating bar percent. So let's put it in order. 0, 25%, and 33.3 is less than 50%. 75% is more, so it goes to the right of 50%. Show me, so given a empty bar, show me 33 and 1/3%. Well, we know that this is 0%, this is 100%, this would be 50%, this would be 25%, this would be 75%. So 33 and 1/3% would be between 25% and 50%. Another way to do it is cut the bar into 3 equal parts, and it's 1/3. Number 5 through 12. Can you complete the table so each set contains a fraction, decimal, and percent that are equivalent? 45%. How would you write that as a decimal? 0 and 45 hundredths. And how would you write 45% as a fraction? 45 out of 100. If I simplify this, let me use a different pen color so we can see the differences as to what I am doing. I divide by 5. I divide by 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So 9/20 or 4,500. Either one are equivalent to 4,500, 45%. Next one. Given 9/10, what percent is it? So I'm going to make a table. How do you build a 10 to 100%? Times 10 times 10. So it's 90 hundredth or 90%. I have some kids who say 0 and 9/10. Is that the same thing as saying 90 hundredths or 90%? Yes. This is in the place value of tenths. What's 9 groups of 10? 90. Next one, 15. Oh, given the decimal 1500, 15%, 1500. Could I simplify this? Divide by 5, divided by 5, I get 3/20. And last but not least, 3/5. What percent would that be? Go to 100%, go this to 100%, times 20, times 20, 60/100, or 60%. Is 6/10 the same thing as saying 60/100? Yes, 6, the place value is tenths. 6 groups of 10 is 60. So they're all equivalent. Again, what you have to know is a percent means out of 100. Bernie collected 12 out of 80 Easter eggs. What percent did she collect? So 12 out of 80. A percent means out of 100%. So can 80 go into 100 easily? Is it compatible? No. What about up and down relationship? Can 80 go? No. I think I have to simplify this. I'm going to divide these both by 2. That's 6 and 40. Can 40 go 100? Nope. I think I'm going to have to simplify by 2 again. Because all even numbers are divisible by 2. Now, can 20 go in 100? Oh, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 times 5 times 5, 1,500 or 15%. As you can tell, here I divided by 4 to save time. 5 students took a test. Their scores are the following. So Greg, oh goodness, they did not do well on this test. Greg got 2/5. So how do you build this to 100% times 20 times 20, 40%? That's not good. David got 3/10. What's 3 groups of 10? 30. So 30%. No, he did worse. Mary got 65%. Hey, at least she got the highest. She didn't pass the test, but she got the highest. 1/3. Again, if you forgot, how do you build a third to 100? Times 33 times 33, but that'll be 99. So times 33.3, repeating bar, so 33.3%. Violet got 3/4. How do you put this to 100% times 25? 75%. So put them from greatest to least. The best person was 75%, then 65%, then 40%, then 33 and 3%, and 30%. The original numbers are 3/4, 65%, 2/5, 1/3, 3/10. 15. Identify the part, whole, and percent in the following problem. Use question mark for the missing quantity. So Mary, I should put a question mark here. Mary has 12 hair ribbons. 3 of the ribbons are red. What percent of her ribbons are red? So she has 3 ribbons are red out of how many? 12. So we know 12 is all the ribbons she has. That's the whole thing she has, a total. Part of it is red. How many? 3. Do we know the percent? No. So let's make a table, and then we'll look at a picture. 100%. Can you do a side-to-side relationship? Not quite. But can I do a down to up? How do you turn a 12? How do you break down a 12 to a 3? Divide by 4. Divide by 4, and you get 2,500 or 25%. Another way you do it is you simplify it. Divide by 3. Divide by 3, you get 1/4. How do you build 4 to 100? Times 25, 25%. Maybe you prefer a picture. So here's a picture. If you had 100% of a ribbon, that's all of them, 12 ribbons. Should we know that 3? What part of it? How do you break down 12 to a 3? Divide by 4. Divide by 4. That's where you get 25%. So picture's good. Table is good. Mr. DeLeon is going to get a 15% raise at work. So 15% goes into percent. He presently makes $20 an hour. What will be the amount of his raise per hour? So he makes in all $20 an hour. So let's look at the table. If he makes a full amount, that's $20. $15% is he's going to get extra 15%. Do we know how much money? No. So can you do a side-to-side relationship? What about up and down? How do you break down 100 to a 20? Divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is $3. Maybe you don't prefer that way. Maybe you prefer a table. How would you write 15% as a fraction? 15 out of 100. So 100%, 100 represents the total amount he makes, which is $20. 15 represents the part of money he makes. So the part of the raise, what part of the raise is he going to get? So how do you break down 100 to a 20? Divide by 5, divide by 5. That means he's going to get a extra $3 part out of 20. 17, 18. Here are the different colors. The chart shows the number of each color of marble Carrie found when he opened a large box of marbles. What fraction and percent of the total marbles, oh, I should have written the word total right here, of the total marbles in the box are green or white? How many green or white out of total? It is 20 out of 50. So we know the fraction. What percent is that? How do you build 50 to 100 times 2? 40, 100, or 40%. And number 19, solve the following percent bar problem. So we have all this, and we need to find this one. So we need to break down 100% to 20%. Any suggestions? Divide by 5. What's 360 divided by 5? 72. I actually have kids who do it this way. How do you break down 100% to 10%? Divide by 10. 360 divided by 10 is 36. And how do you build up 10% to 20%? Times 2. Times 2. And that's where you get 72. And the very last question. Shade the model below to get 37.5%. Well, first of all, is that percent more than half or less than half? Well, it's less than half. So I know it can't be, it has to be 4, it cannot be 4. So if I shaded 2 of the 8, that's 1/4. And you should know this by now, but 1/4 is 2,500 or 25%. So it can't be 2, must be 3, 8. To check your work, we learned a shortcut. Can 8 go in 100? No. Let's simplify this. What's half of 8? 4. What's half of 3? 1.5. How do you build a 4 to 100? Times 25, times 25. 1.5 times 25 is 37.5%. And that is our study of it. Hopefully you have an understanding of what a percent is out of 100%.